Man, Rooster, it's got to be 5 o'clock somewhere. All right, everybody, we're back. We got our refills.
Yep.
Let's pick up right where we left off. Talking about the scary shit.
That coronavirus is scary.
It is so scary. So
Dude, but
scary.
not just the coronavirus. Like, there's so many changes that we've already seen in the last couple of months that are like, everyone's convinced are gonna like change humanity and like the direction of what we do with so many things. Like digital currency, like we were talking about.
Yeah, digital currency right now has been going through a lot of growing pains in the last month. It's we talked about the NFTs for a little bit. We talked about staking. We didn't really talk about staking, but there's different staking platforms, and you can invest in futures and things like that. That's another whole topic. But the biggest news that we were talking about was Mexico announced that they're going to stop exporting oil in the next couple of years.
Shit.
So, but for everybody that doesn't know, they're the third largest exporter.
Why would they do that?
Because they realize if they hold their resource, right, that gives them a better leverage standpoint in the world economy, right? It's not saying I'm sure they won't go to a complete halt, right?
Yeah, but they'll start restricting the amount that they export.
I bet you they pump the brakes on that like nobody's business. Now, in terms of production, they don't put out the most or the best quality, but it's there, right?
Yeah.
And if you have the third largest producer in the world economy...
Yeah, start limiting their oil. Yeah.
That is going to shatter a world economy.
Who are the two primary producers, do you know?
Well, you got the Middle East, right?
Yeah, Middle East I figured was number one.
Right, and I think...
I know we have a fuck ton of oil, but we don't necessarily, like, use it.
We did for a while. We did for a while. Up until, 2020, 2021.
When somebody decided to turn on the tap.
Turn it off. Not turn it on, turn it off.
I thought that, like, we didn't use a lot of our reserves or whatever, and we imported a lot of our oil.
We did until...
And then I thought Biden, like, made the decision to start pulling oil out of our...
No. No, he's pulling the reserves that were brought in by Trump when he was president to refill our national reserve, right? And he decided to tap into it because he shut off the Keystone Pipeline.
Exactly.
He's crying and screaming because OPEC won't sell more oil and produce more oil for the U.S. Well, for the 4 years that we had Trump in office, we were, for the first time in a long time, almost completely energy independent from the rest of the world, right? We were responsibly using our own resource.
Yeah.
Now, I don't totally agree with that, but at the same time, it was a smart play because I enjoyed cheap gas.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know about you guys, but I enjoyed cheap gas.
Right.
But that we're kind of going off topic on that. But if Mexico decides to do that, what's to say that the rest of the world that produces oil and natural gas decides to do the same thing?
Yeah.
It's going to force us back into a corner where we're, regardless of party affiliation or where we're at, you're going to have to use your own resource. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have it, guess what? You're back to sticks and fire.
Fuck.
You're going Amish.
Right. That makes me think about... So obviously there was this whole push in California for like electric vehicles and stuff. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly what they did, but they like made laws and regulations that like promoted use of electronic vehicles and stuff. And now, I don't know if you've heard about this giant like power grid problem that California's having.
It's the whole country.
Yeah.
It's the whole country. It's not just California.
They literally said that you can no longer charge your electric vehicles or whatever.
Have you seen, well, here, I'll do one better, is that the state of New York just proposed a bill that no new building built in the state of New York can be attached to a gas line.
Which means what?
No natural gas for your house.
For heating or wow.
You're supposed to be able to only use electric heat.
Wow. Isn't natural gas like the most like efficient form of heating ever?
No. That would be coal. But nobody wants to talk about coal because coal only makes about 60 plus % of the power in the United States.
Yeah, okay.
Right? And that's why they're all leaning back towards nuclear.
Ah.
It's like, okay, we're definitely going Simpsons.
I was hearing this shit recently about, and I know nothing about it, I wish I knew more about it, but about utilizing natural uranium deposits that leach from like limestone or something. I forget what it was, but they leach into the ocean on the ocean floor. And there were these new scientists were working on this project where they can harvest this natural uranium on the ocean floor, and like it supposedly makes like they can use, you know how in our uranium when we use it in a nuclear plant, we can only use like 5% of its energy before it's no good to us, and then the other 95 just goes to the waste. Apparently this stuff at the bottom of the ocean they can use and utilize like 90% of it because of its form or whatever. So they were talking about that, how that could be a plausible source of energy for like the future and stuff. But
yeah, there's definitely going to have to be some leaps and bounds, and I feel like that's why we've talked about it in technology and things in other episodes, where I feel like within the next 5 years you're going to see this huge shift in science, and that there has to be a hard stop and a hard reset, and then a jump forward to technology that was proved efficient 20 years ago but has been on the back burner because of big companies, right? And not just like big oil or anything like that, but big companies don't want it out because
their money is based on the previous method. Yeah.
And so there's going to have to be this hard paradigm shift in the way that the world and people not only produce but use energy. Right? There's going to be there has to be this big thing, because not only in an environmental standpoint but in the economic standpoint of it, because I don't think that all the old ways will disappear, right? Because look at EVs. Like, you're just talking about EVs. EVs have a very limited range.
Yeah, what is it, like 200 miles, 300 miles?
200 to 300 miles at best.
Yeah.
Right? Until there's a paradigm shift in there, and that we have something that has 1,000-mile travel radius.
But also doesn't take 5 hours to refill your gas tank or your electric tank.
Yeah, you just pulled the Biden. My EV go from San Francisco to New York on 1 tank of gas. What?
Did he just say that?
How did that work? But there has to be this this huge shift, you know. And there's just so many different things that are happening, you know, not only in the world of energy, but in the world of renewables. There's this huge shift now of people going back to using glass, right?
Using glass? What do you mean?
Yeah, because in the recycling world, glass was seen as, you know, too expensive and not the best renewable source. Now that whole shift is starting to turn back and going, no, the glass can be recycled thousands of times. It just has to be ground up and remelted and yada, yada, yada. Whereas metal can be corroded and degraded over time. Plastics don't have an infinite life because they came from what? Oil. So they have a finite life, where things like silica-based reusable items, they're infinite. And so they're pushing back towards it. It's just really weird. If you guys do any research or see anything that's going on in the renewable world, let us know what you find, because I would love to read it. But the biggest here's one thing, because the old adage of, you know, it costs 2.5 cents to make a penny. Have you ever heard that?
Nope.
Because it does. It costs
does it really?
2.5 cents worth of energy to create
make
a
the
1
zinc
cent,
in the
a 1 cent piece in the United States. So that whole move, we've talked about digital currency and the way that they're moving, and we just talked about Mexico, and now Mexico's talking about by 2025 having a centralized digital currency.
Yeah.
Right? There's other countries that have also announced that, but I would say by 2030, in our lifetime, you won't have a dollar bill anymore. You won't have 5. Your Benjamins will be gone.
Your Benjamins.
And there will be no more pocket change.
I wish there was a way to know what currency they're going to choose, because you could get in on it now.
I don't think, but here's the thing. I think in the beginning they're all going to be different. They're all going to be.
You think they'll make their own, probably?
Yeah. Just like they do, you know, we have the U.S. dollar and yada yada yada. I think there will be a currency for that country.
Yeah.
The
Mexican Bitcoin.
Right? What would that even be called? I don't even know. My Spanish is horrible, but
right. The Bitcoinita.
Sign up today and get the free chalupa. Yo quiero. No, but I it's crazy to think that in my lifetime, your lifetime,
we're not gonna have bills in our pocket.
No.
Yeah.
No, our phones, our smartwatches, a little chip in your hand. We've talked all about these things, right? That's gonna be.
It's coming.
It's the way it's gonna be. I mean, God forbid it turns into a Tom Cruise deal when they're scanning your retina everywhere you go.
What are you talking about? Minority Report?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Where they know where you are at all times, and you go to the grocery store and they're like, boop! Oh God! Oh God! I don't have enough money. I got to put the ice cream back.
Right. For real. Yeah, the changes that are coming. It's going to be crazy to see, like, not only what happens in your lifetime, but in my lifetime. I've got at least another 60 years, hopefully. Shit is going to change. I'm excited for... I'm a generally optimistic person, so in general, I'm super excited for, like, the way that our country is going to change, and hopefully for the better. That's the Star Trek in me that just wants humanity to unite and go search the stars.
Right. What side subject here? I just read an article the other day pertaining to that. Do you realize that in Star Trek, that when you see your characters flown around through space and doing all that crap, that every time they come back to Earth, multiple freaking generations have deceased and come up? And deceased and come up because of the
time dilation?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it just dawned on me the other day, and I was like, how old is Picard?
See, but from what I've seen, at least in Next Gen, yes, that happens, but it's not like so severe where it's generations. I've had it happen where there's this one episode where they get caught in this little time loop because the Enterprise exploded and created this little time loop or whatever. And they were stuck in it for like 2 months, and they didn't even realize, and they thought it was like a day. But I've never seen anything where they came back to Earth and it was like 3 or 4 generations
But that
later.
whole article dealt with the whole premise of Star Trek and why the show wasn't accurate to representation of time dilation.
So it was saying it wasn't accurate. That makes 100% sense. Because I thought that all the time. I was like, if they were traveling faster than the speed of light, then they wouldn't age at all, and time in the regular space would age like hundreds of years. That's funny, because I thought about that too.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh, mind's blown. I don't need to be thinking about this anymore. Where's the fluffy kitten videos?
Back to the fluffy kitten videos.
Because I love my fluffy kitten videos.
Right.
That and the bullies. I like the bulldog videos.
Yeah, for real. But I think if we were just to encounter some aliens, or even proof that alien life existed, I think it would unite the entire planet. Because we are all humans and we are a tribe, and it would make us feel more like... Because we're tribal by nature. We want to have a group and we want to have an enemy. So if there were another life out there, I feel like it would motivate everyone to work together to create a better future for humanity,
I think to some degree, yes. But I think that would all depend on the contact, the first contact.
The first contact. Oh, yeah.
In what the intentions were.
Yeah.
Right? Because yes, we could as a species go into complete, it would be a period of, probably a decade or two of like readjustment and understanding.
Oh yeah, and lots of chaos probably.
Right, but a civilization of peace, because we know that we're not the only ones. Or they could show up and start doing more than probing your butthole, and you're like, everybody grab a gun.
Right.
So the whole world is fighting just to survive.
Yeah.
Right?
See, that would be worst case scenario.
But it's one or the other.
Exactly.
There's not There's not really any other two ways about it. Right? Unless they walk off the damn ship and they look just like us.
And they speak fucking English.
And you're like, experiment was a success. Which I don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah, right. That's why I've always wanted that to happen, for us to be able to like unite as a planet. And in Star Trek, you know, the way it works is they create replicators and everything so that there's no scarcity of resources. You can replicate any and everything. You could create a diamond with a printer.
Right.
And so that gets rid of the need to fight for resources and food or anything, because it can all just be made instantly.
Right.
And that was like the driving push to unite everyone, because there's nothing to fight over anymore. I don't think that part is going to happen. I think if aliens come and even we try to unite, we're still going to be fighting over resources, I feel like, until we die out.
I think that's inevitable as a species.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing I'm going to fight for right now is
A refill. That's right.
So we will be back in just a few moments. We'll catch you in a few.
That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to, you know, that show.